more than that, folks. Slam dunk simple. 800-282-2882 when we get to the phones. Let's go to the Supreme Court ruling on the unions. I don't think people are yet aware how momentous and huge this is. A lot of people are focusing on it, properly so, just like a lot of people are focusing on Joe Crowley losing in New York to the 28-year-old millennial Marxist. And of course, now people on that, people are going to are going to worry the Democrat leadership. Is the Democrat leadership is the wake-up call for them? They're going to realize that just one district doesn't really represent anything. If you people at the Democrat Party, if you want to know what this means, I'll be glad to tell you. And folks, don't worry about it because they never listen to me, even when I try to help them. But I'm going to explain this. This Supreme Court ruling, excuse me, wait till you hear the money that we're talking about. Here's the nub of this. The Supreme Court today ruled 5-4 that non-union workers cannot be forced to pay fees to public sector unions. Samuel Alito wrote the court's opinion. He said, compelling individuals to mouth support for views they find objectionable violates the cardinal constitutional command, and in most contexts, any such effort would be universally condemned. Meaning, these people cannot have their First Amendment rights violated by unions. The unions can't first coerce money from them and then redirect that money to causes people don't believe it. Do you know how long this has been going on? This has been going on not only with fees, but union dues and any other myriad number of ways unions collect money from members. Now, let me explain something before I go further into this. I previously characterized this whole arrangement between the Democrat Party and unions as kind of like a money laundering agreement. And here's how it works. The Democrat Party can't go to the United States Treasury and write a check for $100 million every election. Yet they end up getting it. How? How do they do it? Well, look at Obama's stimulus. That stimulus package ostensibly was to rebuild schools and roads and bridges. It was to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure, but that's not what the money went to. That money was about $800 billion, and now, you know, I get the M's and the B's. 800. It was almost $1 trillion. What? No. Can't be. That's 1/3 of the budget. It had to be 800 million. The money went to unions. It went to unions at a time of a recession. People were losing their jobs left and right. That money kept union employees employed. But the reason that was important is because union employees working meant that fees and dues could be extracted from them. And a significant percentage of that goes back to the Democrat Party as political contributions. And so federal programs that appropriate money to unions is really a secret way of having a portion of that money get back to the Democrat Party. It's a very clever money laundering operation.
Cheeseburger and a chocolate milk. That'll do it. Thank you.
Millions and billions, they get confused in my head. Yeah, $800 billion, and a great percentage of that went to unions to keep them employed. School unions in Wisconsin and California, we documented all of this, and then those people have their dues collected and other fees, and a portion of that goes back to the Democrat Party. So where Obama couldn't go to the Treasury and write the Democrat Party a check for $100 billion, million, whatever dollars he can get it this way. And the Democrats have been doing this for years. And the origination of it is all of these fees and dues that the unions have been demanding from members. The court said today that non-union workers cannot be forced to pay these fees to public sector work. Did you know that the unions were able to extract this money from non-union employees too? They were. That is what has ended. Now, this story's at CNBC. The case, one of the most hotly anticipated of the term, concerned whether public employees can be forced to pay fees that fund the work of public sector unions. Some experts have said that a holding in favor of Janus would be the most significant court decision affecting collective bargaining in decades. Mark Janus was an employee at the Illinois Department of Health Care and Human Services.
Hello, how are you doing?
Last summer to overrule a 40-year-old Supreme Court decision that found that public sector unions could require employees affected by their negotiations to pay so-called agency fees.
You have a good day, thank you.
Which have also been called fair share fees. Those fees, approved at a court in 1977, in the case of Abood v. Detroit Board of Education, covers collective bargaining costs, contract negotiations, but they're meant to exclude political advocacy, but they don't. Okay, so that's the ruling. Non-union workers cannot be, and believe me, there are many more non-union employees in America than there are unionized. Unionized employee percentage is it's at an all-time low. Which, if that's the case, how do the unions keep sending so damn much money to the Democrats? If union membership is at an all-time low, and it is, then how the hell does the SEIU and the teachers' unions and all these other, where do they get the money to send to the Democrats? Now let's go to the numbers. You want to hear the numbers affected. Now, the numbers I'm going to give you are contributions 2017, 2018. Not all of this is going to be lost, just a percentage of it. The percentage donated by non-union, the forced, this is no different than a union boss reaching into a non-union employee's back pocket or checkbook and writing himself a check claiming you owe us this because you are benefiting from union contract negotiations and so forth and so on. The American Federation of Teachers, 2017, 2018, donated $6.5 million to the Democrat Party and various liberal groups, none to Republicans. The American Federation of State, City, Municipal Employees, $5,027,000, all to the Democrat Party and liberal groups. We are up to $11.5 million just with two unions. The National Education Association, $2,300,000. 95% of it to the Democrat Party and liberal groups. The American Federation of Government Employees, $1.8 million. Same scenario, most of it to Democrats and liberal interest groups, a smidgen to Republicans. The International Association of Firefighters, $1.5 million. Now, looks like about 30% of that went to Republicans, the rest to the Democrat Party. The National Association of Letter Carriers, $833,000. The American Postal Workers Union, $611,000. This is all in 1 year. The National Active and Retired Federal Employees Association, $481,000. The list keeps going. There aren't but 3 of these groups that gave any money to Republicans. That's why there is abject panic today in the Democrat Party. Let's go to the audio soundbite, starting with somebody number 2, Jeffrey Toobin on CNN. Did you hear about CNN's ratings? CNN's audience last week fell below that of the Food Network. The Food Network outrated CNN. And I'll tell you this, the Food Network doesn't have anywhere near the overhead CNN does. And there's no reporter for the Food Network has ever been told to go home at a Donald Trump rally. Food Network people probably welcomed at Trump rallies. The numbers we're talking about here are, I'll find it in a minute. I want to go to Jeffrey Toobin. This morning on CNN, the anchor at Poppy Harlow. He is talking to Toobin as a chief legal analyst. She says, Jeffrey, how significant is it in a time when we've already seen the decline of unions in this country?
It's a real blow. This is another 5-4 conservatives winning decision, like the travel ban case yesterday, like the abortion free speech case yesterday. 3 opinions in 2 days, all of which illustrate how successful it was that Mitch McConnell stopped Barack Obama from appointing Merrick Garland and saved that seat for Donald Trump. Many Democrats believe stole that seat for Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, Mr. Toobin, let me give a different perspective. I don't deny McConnell did that, but certainly not unprecedented. You guys have written the book on denying Republican presidents their judicial nominees. You've written a book on delaying confirmation votes. So don't start whining and moaning about Merrick Garland, because we don't have any tears for you, buddy. Our smiles are too broad. The idea here that the court, 5-4, another conservative winning decision. Jeffrey, what you need to consider is that the Supreme Court is defending the presidency here in some of these cases. Not Trump. They are defending the Constitution because your little judges out there in the hinterland are usurping their authority by claiming they can stop federal executive action from their little courthouse bench. Now, Bohunk, Oregon. No offense, Oregon. There's much more. I have to take a break, though, because of the programming format. Don't